Hi, good evening. Welcome to Business Live. My name is Darrell Kwao. We'd like to start off tonight with the latest GDP figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service, and growth for the second quarter of this year recorded a significant increase. It went up by 5.7% compared with 4.3% recorded for the same period last year. Here's Ebenezer Sabute's report.
The growth was influenced by activities of the information and communication, mining and quarrying, health and social work, and real estate subsectors. For instance, information and communication subsector went up by more than 52%. However, in electricity, forestry, and fishing subsectors, activities in those areas went down significantly. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna announcing the GDP results to journalists in Accra.
This has to do with current GDP with oil inclusive. For current GDP with non-oil inclusive, there has been an increase from 69,890.5 to 81,353.6 million Ghana cedis. In terms of sectoral distribution, the services sector continues to drive the economy with a value of 38,715, constituting 49%, followed by the industry sector, which has 27,998.5 million Ghana cedis, constituting 36.0%, and the agricultural sector contributing 12,080.10 million Ghana cedis, which constitutes 15% of the share of GDP.
The government statistician has been making some suggestions on how to improve data gathering to aid measurements of GDP estimates.
To explore other alternatives, specifically the use of VAT receipts and the deployment of scanners to help improve on the accuracy of the data that we collect. This is imperative because this is what other countries are doing to improve on the quality of statistics. Sending market readers out on a monthly basis has some challenges, but once we are able to scan the data set, the receipt, and we have the VAT receipt, is going to contribute to the accuracy of the data that we release. Also, there is an opportunity for us to look at what is happening with the evolution of supermarkets in the country, where we can easily tap into big data and will not be relying on the small markets for the prices, because we all would expect that all the commodities and all of us would go into these supermarkets and patronize goods and services from there.
Based on the data, the Ghanaian economy can be said to be services-led. This is because activities in that area accounts for about 50% of the economy. It was followed by industry and then agriculture. Ebenezer Sabute's reports for Joy Business.
Well, meanwhile, the year-on-year inflation for the month of August currently stands at 7.8% after rebasing of the economy. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna explains.
This means that the annual year-on-year inflation rate for August 2019 is 7.8, and I put emphasis on the fact that we are not reporting monthly changes because this is the first time we are doing the rebasing, so there wouldn't be any basis to report on the monthly changes. Literally, this means that in the month of August, there's a change in the general price level by 7.8% higher than the prices in August 2018. To reiterate the point, this 7.8 that we are announcing cannot be compared with previous inflation rates, and that is based on the context that we gave earlier on. We move on to the disaggregation, and as I indicated earlier on, the disaggregation is done by food inflation and non-food inflation, and the 7.8 that we are recording for August 2019 is mainly driven by food inflation, and the differential between food inflation and non-food inflation is 0.8%. Another disaggregation that we do is by locally produced items and imported items, and the differential inflationary rate is 0.3%, with locally produced inflation being 7.9% and imported items recording 7.6%. Inflation is largely driven by alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and narcotics, which records 12.9%, and the least of this is insurance and financial services. Further disaggregation based on the food inflation indicates that fruits and nuts category is driving food inflation with a rate of 25.2%, and the least being fish and other seafood, recording the least of 6.3%. For non-food inflation is mainly driven, as I indicated earlier on, by alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and narcotics, recording 12.9%, as was mentioned earlier on, and insurance and financial services, recording 0.3%.
All right, so we are hoping to make sense of this with economist Courage Buti. We'll link up with him in the course of the show. Let's move on to other news. Corporate Service Executive of MTN Ghana, Samuel Kwanting, has expressed worry about the increased cutting of fiber optic cables of the company, blaming it on the construction of roads. The fiber cuts, according to him, caused a shutdown to some sections of the network, bringing to a halt the activities of some critical services in the country. Last year, MTN Ghana recorded 1,142 fiber cuts. The company this year alone has already suffered 822. Mr. Kwanting made the disclosure at the annual Editors Forum in WA. JoyNews Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
The annual Editors Forum, organized by the biggest telecommunications service in the country, MTN Ghana, is to update major stakeholders of the company, especially the media, about their 2018 operations and the focus of the company for 2019. It also affords MTN Ghana the opportunity to share with the media the challenges they are facing in their operations and plans of fixing them. Corporate Service Executive of MTN Ghana, Samuel Kwanting, disclosed that one key challenge faced by the company is the increasing cut of the fiber optic cable, which sometimes results in the shutting down of sections of the network.
In 2018, MTN alone suffered 1,142 fiber cuts across the country. Year to date, that's 2019, we have so far suffered 822 fiber cuts. And this impacts our services in the sense that sometimes when you suffer quadruple fiber cuts like we suffered sometime in April this year, it shut off a certain section of the network. Therefore, the network was down. People who needed connectivity for security matters, connectivity for their businesses were also impacted. We have gone up and down the country together with the road agencies to educate contractors as well as the road agencies to collaborate with us, that in the sense that we are development partners in terms of the infrastructure we lay by fiber optic cables, and to make sure that when there is road construction or road expansion, we are informed well in advance to give us an opportunity to relocate the fiber for roads to be expanded, and then the fiber will be relayed.
Despite the challenges, Mr. Kwanting noted that the company is still able to work not only to maintain its position as the largest taxpayer in the country, but also supports the government and its bid to digitize in the country.
We're talking about the over 6,000 kilometers of fiber we have laid up and down the country to help in the digitization of this country, to help in the connectivity of this country. Where the government is rolling out e-government and all these government initiatives which are designed to help in the development of this country. In 2018, MTN was adjudged the largest taxpayer, and we were also adjudged the #1 company. And in terms of our contribution, in terms of taxes, we put that at 1.5 billion Ghana cedis.
Community Relations Advisor of MTN Ghana, Sheila Soronye, rolled out some of the projects embarked on by MTN Ghana.
In terms of education, we have the Golu Library project. We have a school at VA, this classroom block, which is yet to be commissioned. The Golu Library project is also yet to be commissioned. And then, as part of our Yellow Care project a couple of years ago, we also came to share school bags with deprived communities, like kids in deprived communities who didn't have school bags. We shared bags with them.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
All right, so we can go back to our earlier story on the GDP figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service for the second quarter of this year. As we've been reporting, the is an increase of to 5.7% in the second quarter of this year, and inflation is currently standing at 7.8%. That's for the month of August, and that is based on the rebasing of the economy by the Ghana Statistical Service. Joining us via Skype is economist with Data Bank, Courage Boti. Thanks for your time tonight, Courage. So, well, second quarter GDP has increased to 5.7% compared with 4.8 or 3, I believe, for the previous year, 4.3% for the previous year. That sounds good, but we're seeing a slow growth in the non-oil sector. Is that normal?
Thank you. Good evening to your listeners. So, 5.7% growth 2019 compared to 5.4% similar period last year. Yes, non-oil growth is a bit slower at 4.3 as against 5% the previous the comparative year 2018. The reason for me is simple. I think it's largely a base drift effect. I think yes, people will argue that a lot of government initiatives in the areas of manufacturing and the areas of agriculture, the investment going into planting for food and job. But the thing is this, if you are coming from a low base, the slightest investment could actually boost growth quite significantly. But after the base is broadening, the additions should be marginal. And then we could see that from the transition from 2017 to 2018, and then 2018 now to this place. For agriculture, like agriculture, for instance, we saw that the growth rate in 2018 from the level in 2017 was quite significant, around, if I recall right, 9%. And that's because there is a huge investment is going into that sector and for food and job. The yield and the gains from, the improved yields from all the various lines of production actually boosted that level of growth. But going into 2019, where we are coming from a relatively broader base, and then you could see that the incremented and number of people who want it's not like a twofold, threefold increment. Ordinarily, you don't expect quite much as a result of the base effect. I think one other thing that is obvious, and we should talk about the oil sector, and this is not for non-oil economy. The oil sector, yes, grew, but at a much slower pace than the previous year. Of course, you could argue that oil production has increased from levels of sub 100,000 barrels a day to gradually last year and then now this year 196,000 or so thereabout barrels a day. But fact is that the base increment again is not, the base effect is again affecting productivity and growth from that sector. So if you are moving from a 150 barrel to a 190 barrel, the change is not as significant as moving from, say, a 70,000 barrels a day to a 150,000 barrels a day. So largely, the slower growth we're seeing in quarter two for both oil and non-oil GDP may be due to base effects.
Right, and we've seen that the inflation figure for the month of August is a 7.8, and our understanding for that figure is because of the rebasing of the economy. But looking at the figures, does it look good? Because we had a conversation about this yesterday, about the fact that we expect inflation to further rise because of the current happenings in the economy. How does it look like from where you are?
Okay, so 7.8% inflation for the month of August. I wasn't expecting the rebasing because
it's let's say it's something that has been on the cards from last year. We were already expecting it along with the GDP rebasing, but that didn't happen. What is happening is they've expanded the basket from around 269 commodities in that basket to now over 300.
Please, let's do
what they've also done is to change the formula. What they call the core COP is now refined and revised to the 2018 model. And then so that will naturally mean that reweighing of some of the items and then the shifting of some items from one group to the other. Obviously, when you expand your basket, you revise the weighting, you expect the index to change. And then that is really what has happened. There is not much to say because we don't have the history of last year to compare it with. I think over time they'll bring that. With the data work, so they'll bring that over time. What this tells us now is that inflation is probably much lower than we thought it was previously. Will this warrant a central bank decision on, say, cutting monetary policy rate come Friday? I can't tell, and I think it would be premature to do that because, as I said here now, I have no basis to compare. But what is showing generally is that inflation seems to be lower than we all thought it was.
All right. Courage, thank you very much for your thoughts tonight. We'll certainly revisit it when the MPC makes a decision on the policy rate. Now, you may have heard the expression food sells, right? But have you tried to cook for a huge number of people? If you have, you'd agree it's not an easy task. Amadome Tamaklo does it so easily. She's been doing this for 4 years, providing meals for hundreds of people. And now her food startup, Food 101, is looking to break new ground. Here is her story on today's episode of the Joy Business Van.
So how many orders have come in so far?
Okay, so Metsu, because most of them join the group.
This has become the life of Amadome Tamaklo since she decided 4 years ago to quit working in a corporate institution as a marketer to following her passion for food.
I love food through and through. The eating, the cooking, presentation, everything about food. Yes, I love food.
It sounded as though she was kidding when she announced to her friends she was quitting to sell food. But her decision to do this was not just because of her passion for food.
My plan was to serve healthy food, not just food, because I'm very health conscious about keeping the body healthy. That's the only one we have. So I'm very mindful about what we consume. So I thought if I give people that healthy option, they would respond positively, and they have.
She had found a solution to a problem, the essence of entrepreneurship. But while she had found a solution to a problem, it looked so basic. Plus, Ama would add to the countless number of people who are in this business.
So the very first day, I remember it like yesterday, even though it's been like 4 years, the very first day, people didn't believe that I was quitting what I was doing to go and start food business. So I selected a couple of friends and I cooked for free. I did it for a week. So I just served them lunch. I told them we are having it for free. And well, not the same people. We sampled it across various offices, various people. So after a week, we told them that, well, if you like the food, now you can order from us.
With a staff of 2 plus a push on social media, soon Ama would get overwhelmed by the number of orders and hire more people.
I think right from the onset, our strategy caught on quite early. Of serving affordable food, so you could get an average worker in an office buying from us on a daily basis. We do free delivery, so you don't have to pay for delivery. We realize on the market that some people find it difficult eating from one restaurant or a catering business for the whole week because it's expensive. So they either buy Mondays and only on Thursdays. So our strategy was to make it very affordable, healthy, affordable, free delivery. So that's what we started with. Yes, and then it caught on because people were comfortable with it. Well, for that on a daily basis.
Food 101 offers a variety of meals, and the emphasis is on healthy eating. In an industry where there is so much competition, Ama knows consistency and quality are very important.
Food sells, yes, but it's not, you can decide that I'm cooking today, people will patronize it, but how about if it's not good? How about if it's not healthy? It won't sell the next day, it won't sell after a week, and you'll be out of business. So good food sells. because people eat on a daily basis. But what are you feeding them? But like any other thing, if you have to do it well to be able to attract that profit. If you don't, it will not come.
Selling food is not just about cooking, it's also about managing the business, making strategic decisions to stay in business and be profitable. How do you deal with unstable prices of foodstuff? How do you innovate to stay ahead of the market? What do you do when clients delay payments? Those are just a few of the issues Amma has to deal with on a daily basis.
You have all these ideas, but you need money to implement them. And that has been one challenge. And then engaging people, getting the right people. Sometimes, from my experience as an entrepreneur, I realize that people are not really passionate about, some people are not passionate about what they are doing or what they want to do. They're interested in just maybe getting paid at the end of the month. So I've had my fair share of it. People come in and they don't deliver. So you have to keep changing. And then, so another challenge was with finding the right staff, the right people, the right attitude. And then you need to depend on people to deliver motorbikes. They either disappoint or they don't go as expected, and we've had our fair share of that too. We hope it gets better.
But it's been a good 4 years so far, and now Food 101 has overcome the 5th year hurdle where they evolved from being a startup.
So in our 5th year, we are looking at expanding. In the past, we tried to branch into other areas, like strictly doing pastries, strictly doing like shito and other things, moving a bit away from the regular serving of food. And I think we hadn't planned well, so we are using this whole year to plan properly and then launch the different aspects of Food 101, where you don't just have to call us and get food in the office. You can walk into a shop and pick your shito, pick your spring roll, samosa, pick other things from the shelf that you can go and prepare at home yourself. Yes.
And I should mention that Amma hosts workout sessions for corporate institutions she caters for. And just in case you're wondering why the name Food 101, well, Amma tells me she settled on that because food is a basic necessity of life. And that we know for a fact. And that is Business Live for tonight. My name is Daryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We are back same time tomorrow.